Zoom, center your meeting ID.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Cora Goldston with REL Midwest, and we will get started in just a moment. Hi, Jackie. I'm not sure if you can hear us, but I don't believe we're able to hear you, so you might be muted.
She has to mute. We can't hear her. Oh. So we are here at what time is that? 51. Yeah. Okay, so we got 10 minutes. We gotta go. We gotta move fast.
Yeah, we have a lot, so I mean, we're just gonna be able to touch on some things.
Hi everyone. We will get started in just a moment with the webinar. Thank you for your patience. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Emily Loney from REL Midwest. My colleague Jackie is going to get online in just a minute to help us begin the presentation, but I'll kick us off for now by introducing our webinar and our presenters, and then as Jackie's able to get on audio, we'll allow her to come join us. But for now, we'll get moving and walk you through our platform and our presenters. So here are our esteemed panelists. Today we are pleased to have Yinmei Wan, a senior researcher at REL Midwest, Robin Miller, Deputy Superintendent for Educator Effectiveness and Policy Research at the Oklahoma State Department of Education, Jim Lindsay, a Principal Researcher at REL Midwest, and Elia Brueggemann, Special Assistant to the Commissioner in the Minnesota Department of Education. We're pleased to have these presenters and look forward to them sharing their content. We will also have Kate Sullivan, a senior researcher with REL Southwest, and Valerie Lazarev, a senior research scientist with REL Southwest, also respond and share about some upcoming studies through REL Southwest that relate to this subject. And again, Jackie Burniske, Senior Technical Assistance Consultant from REL Midwest and REL Southwest will be our moderator, and we'll hopefully be able to get her technical difficulties addressed. But we'll get moving and begin. An overview of our agenda. First, we're going to begin. It looks like Jackie, are you back on?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for filling in while I had technical difficulty. Yes, we're going to hear from Yin-Mei Wan and her study that addresses Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin and movement across those, within and across those states. Then we'll hear from Robin Miller with the Oklahoma Department of Education, and we'll have a question and answer session. So we invite you to put your questions in our chat pod. And in addition, if you haven't already done so, please introduce yourself in the chat pod and share with us your role and your organization. Then we will continue with the webinar and hear from Jim Lindsay about research he did with Minnesota, and then we'll hear from the Minnesota Department of Education. And then we will have our second question and answer session, and following that we will have a preview of the upcoming research from Kate Sullivan and Val Lazarev and the REL Southwest. In addition, we will have our stakeholder feedback survey, so we invite you at the end to complete that survey. We are using the Zoom platform, so you can join audio either through the your computer or the phone number, and it's listed here. And if you don't have the chat box open yet, we invite you to open up the chat box and introduce yourself, and you can ask questions of the presenters there. And we are using closed captioning, so you can select closed caption in your menu to see the closed caption option. There are 3 ways for you to participate in our chat today. You can send a message to all of the panelists and troubleshoot any technical issues that you have. We also have all panelists and attendees option in the drop-down menu for the chat pod, and that's where you'll introduce yourself by sharing your role and your organization. And we can see a number of people have done that already. Thank you so much for joining us today. And then this is where you ask your questions so we can address them during the Q&A. In addition, you can send a message to an individual. REL Midwest and REL Southwest are part of the Regional Educational Laboratory Program. There are 10 RELs across the country funded through the Institute of Education Sciences. All of the RELs work with school districts, state education agencies, and other educators in their states and region. We all conduct applied research, and we're going to hear from a couple of those studies today. We conduct technical assistance and hold events like this one, which are our engagement activities. In addition, we all have websites and Twitter feeds, so we invite you to join us in helping and working together to understand research and evidence. The REL Midwest has 5 partnerships. We have one on improving teacher preparation, the achievement gap, career readiness, and early childhood, in addition to a networked improvement community in Iowa with rural educators on learning and technology. The REL Southwest has 8 research alliances. 2 are focused on pre-kindergarten. We also have educator effectiveness and English learners. In Louisiana, we have a charter school alliance, and we also have an Achievement Gap Research Alliance in the REL Southwest. Robin Miller, one of our presenters today, is with the Oklahoma Rural Schools Research Alliance and a governing board member, and we also have the Texas Hispanic STEM Research Alliance. As I mentioned, we're going to share the research findings on educator mobility and also supply and demand, and hear from our state Department of Education colleagues. Our first presenter, I'm going to turn the webinar over to Yin-Mei Wan.
Thanks, Jackie. So hi, everyone. My name is Yin-Mei Wan, and I'm a senior researcher at the American Institute for Research. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge my co-authors for this report, which include my AR colleague, Dr. Jim Lindsay, who will also present later today. and 2 researchers from the University of Missouri at Columbia, Dr. Mike Burniske and Mark Elhert. Okay, first a little bit background about the study. So this study was conducted in response to our alliance members who raised two concerns. First, there were like anecdotal evidence that suggested many educators were leaving urban schools where there are a large number of low-income students to work in suburban schools that serve more affluent students. There are also concerns that a disproportionate number of teachers were leaving positions in Minnesota to take teaching positions in the neighboring states. So we conducted this study and we got support from state education agencies in Iowa and Wisconsin. So we focused educator movement within each of these 3 states as well as across the states. We were interested in examining movement between schools within each state, which we called intrastate mobility, as well as interstate mobility. So we also explored whether, particularly intrastate mobility, whether it varies by administrative level, by subject area and region, and whether mobility rates were related or predicted by educator and school characteristics. For this study, we defined the mobility as movement between schools. So mobility is regardless whether the teacher or the educator took a different type of position in the new school. Also, for the analysis of superintendents, obviously, we focus on movement between districts. So we used 2 types of data. First is the educator staffing data from 2005 and 6, 2012 and 13 from each of the 3 states, as well as school level performance data and data on the characteristics of schools from each state. This slide gives you a sense of the size of the educator work state. It shows the average number of teachers, principals, and superintendents in public schools during the school years examined in each state. So for each state, we create longitudinal files that track educators over time. We classified each person's employment states into one of the 3 categories at the end of each year. So stayers are those who stayed for the next year, and leavers are those who leave from the state system. Stopouts are those who left for next year, but somehow returned in later years. Similarly, at the beginning of each year, we also classified people into 3 groups, whether the teacher is new, or whether they were stayers from last year, or whether they were movers from another school in the state. Here's how we calculate mobility rates. Basically, the annual intrastate mobility rate was defined as the percentage of educators in a state in a given year who were observed working in a different school in the next year. We also calculate average annual interstate mobility rates, averaging the year-to-year mobility rates across the entire 5-year period. We also calculate 5 mobility rates, which indicate the share of educators in 2006 and 2007 who were identified in 2011 and 12 as well in the same state, but working in a different school. For this day, we define intermovers as well. Basically, some educators stopped appearing in states employment data. And so the last observed records for these educators were matched by name and birth date to the employment records from the other two states to identify movers between these states. In the next several slides, I will highlight some of the findings from our study. Detailed findings, you can find those in our report. So this slide shows the average annual mobility rates for teachers and superintendents. Obviously, mobility varies by administrative levels. Principals had the highest level mobility among these three groups. Interestingly, Minnesota had the highest mobility for teachers, Wisconsin had the highest mobility rates for principals, and Iowa had the highest for superintendents. This slide shows the 5-year mobility rates for teachers, principals, and superintendents, which are largely consistent with the findings for annual mobility rates. So the next 3 slides shows annual mobility rates over time for each of the states. Here, this is for Iowa. So the annual rates between 2006 and 7, 2010, 11, so in Iowa fluctuate less than like 2 and 2.5 percentage points over the years, and there doesn't seem to be a obvious trend over time. So for Minnesota, like there is it can be shown that the mobility rates for teachers tend to be very stable over the year. And the differences between the 3 groups tend to close out in the last year of the study. So for Wisconsin, all 3 educator groups saw an increase in their mobility rates from 2009-10 to 2010 and 11. So we also explored whether examined whether mobility rates varied by subject areas. Within each of the 3 states, we found statistically significant differences in the mobility rate for teachers in different subject areas. Specifically, the mobility rates were lowest for high school subject areas teachers and highest for special education teachers. The average mobility rate for teachers range from like 4% in Iowa for high school science teachers to 14.8% for elementary school special education teachers in Minnesota. Teacher mobility rates also varied across regions in these 3 states. Differences were found for teachers in all 3 states and for principals in Iowa and Wisconsin. Most of the moves are within each region, are the movement between schools within each region, rather than movement from one school in one region to another school in another region. Mobility rates tend to decline with experience, even after we controlling for other like educator and school characteristics. So in this graph, we characterize teachers' experience into 3 intervals or 3 groups. It shows that teachers with 0 to 5 years of experience had the highest mobility rates in all 3 states. So mobility rates fell for teachers with 6 to 20 years of experience, and lowest for teachers with 21 or more years of experience. So it also found consistent with the literature that mobility are more likely to affect high-need schools, for example, schools where there are large concentrations of top economically disadvantaged students. We found very little movement across states over the entire like 7 periods. There are a total of a little over 1,000 educators across all groups, all 3 groups, and less than 1% of them moved from one state to another. So our study is the first such study to examine mobility within and across states using the same methodology. So the study provides detailed information on mobility and patterns for these 3 states. We think it's important that states monitor mobility routinely. Findings like this can serve as useful baselines for future comparisons. So also the development data on interstate mobility of educators is also a unique contribution of this study. There are several limitations of our study, obviously. First, we cannot reliably determine the reasons for observed mobility based on the administrative data we have for this study. This means, for example, that overall mobility rates include both voluntary and involuntary movers. We also did not attempt to explain why educators move. Finally, the findings from this study are not generalized to other states that might have different population growth patterns than the 3 states in this study. So in addition to the final report, we also have created 3 shorter briefs, one for each state, and a short video. All these reports in the video are publicly available here. So with that, I will turn to our next presenter, Dr. Robin Miller, who will provide her perspective from State Education Agency in Oklahoma.
It's really helped to inform our teacher shortage task force work. And so I'm hoping you're seeing now some initial recent information about the status in Oklahoma of our teacher shortage. This is a survey basically from our State School Boards Association that you're seeing on the right. So to just set the context, in Oklahoma, we have been working for over 2 years on this task force, and you're seeing that the 3 focus areas would be recruitment, retention, and then rewarding of our teachers. The work of the task force, we had 27 recommendations the first year, and then this last year about 13 recommendations. Again, informed by some of the research that we have access to when it comes to trends in educator pipeline, trends in educator certification, and of course mobility trends. What we're seeing in Oklahoma, mobility-wise, within the state, we do have those who are leaving the profession and remaining in Oklahoma, but leaving the profession and going into another industry. Much of the reason is teacher pay, but not always. We also see movement from district to district. So educators who are choosing to go to a different district within Oklahoma to teach, whether it's because of their support might be enhanced in that new district, could be monetary support as well as professional development, building principal support. Mobility out of state, certainly we have those who are cognizant of neighboring states and teacher pay and supports there, and so we do see those who are leaving. I think something that's very interesting, speaking of mobility state to state, is we see many people come to Oklahoma to be prepared in teacher preparation, only to then leave and go back to their home state. It's just, it's more cost effective to come here to be educated. So I think that's quite interesting. The Teacher Shortage Task Force, as I mentioned, we have in the last 2 years about 40 recommendations, and just to mention a few of those, about 12 actually required legislative action and were signed into law. One of those was a teacher leader career ladder. Another had to do with reciprocity. Another activated our retired teachers in a better way. Business type recommendations out of our task force. We're very excited that we launched summer teacher externship, and it's a paid externship. We had a business accept 5 teachers this last summer, and it was a STEM-related field, so these were primarily science and mathematics teachers. We're hoping to use that one externship as a pilot and promote that with other businesses so that next summer, 2018, we will have even more. And then in the area of more educator type recommendations from our task force, we've created some positive messaging. We've created what we call Ed Talks. They're 3 to 5 minute messages from Oklahoma teachers, specifically talking about why they teach and why they stay in teaching. And so those are pretty powerful, I believe. Again, in looking at our shortage in our context, we are informed by, our shortage is informed by where we are with emergency certification. And I'm certain that emergency certification is very similar in other states. It might be called provisional or something else. But as you're seeing here, this is at the district level, the LEA superintendent at a crisis point in realizing that he or she is unable to fill a position, and then must make requests to the State Board of Education for an emergency certified teacher, one that they have already identified. So they come to us, of course, with that name. Where we stand today, what you're seeing here is actually, I went too far, pardon me, is, you know, the last several years, how we have just ballooned into, you know, well over 1,000. And actually, to update in the last couple of days, I can tell you that we sit at 1,667 for the school year, this current school year, 2017 and 18. So, you know, this need for an emergency certified teacher at the district level is really being very vocal right now. Our colleges of education in Oklahoma are down 37% in those who are majoring in education, choosing the teaching profession. And so our district leaders are telling us that they are not receiving applicants. So they are choosing to pursue this emergency certified status. You know, so what that signals for us, of course, at the state agency is that we are mightily working to bring professional development and even college credit coursework to these emergency certified teachers. In connecting to our own agency strategic plan, it's really kind of an ABC, achieving academic success, building exceptional educators in schools, and then creating engaged communities. We're really focusing on, of course, the child and student success. But when we think about educator, teacher shortage in particular, what can we do to help elevate the profession, to help support those teachers so that they are retained? So more of a retention effort as opposed to a recruitment effort. I can tell you that we've been working with many other entities, agencies, again, colleges of education, for example, in trying to bring together, whether it be funding resources or, you know, time and capacity expansion. And we've been very successful in those efforts. You know, all of this sort of wraps into our ESSA plan. As we know, all states have ESSA plans that are typically tied to strategic plans. And when we look at Oklahoma's ESSA state plan, again, we do have that individualized approach. We have what we call goals, initiatives, and equity traits. And those that connect to educator mobility and educator supply and demand. One of the goals is 100% of our students, grades 6 through 12, being on an individual career academic plan. And that will take a focus on educating not only counselors, but teachers. So there's a lot of meaningful professional development to be had in all corners of Oklahoma. We certainly have rural, remote locations that we want to be certain that those educators have access. Something else that is, I think, very exciting is that, part of ESSA does require that states, of course, calculate their disproportionate rate of ineffective teachers, and so we're certainly doing that, but we're also incorporating what we're calling a risk analysis, and it's our own assessment. We're looking at our own deficits possibly, and that would be allowing for some data collection basically in areas of our educators in thinking about where they're at risk for becoming ineffective. So taking more of the preventative approach as opposed to then just calculating our ineffectiveness. We'd certainly like to see that our teachers don't arrive at that ineffective status. And so we are applying and conducting this risk analysis, and those indicators would be looking at the degree or the major, certification type, as well as certification exam attempts and results, and then meaningful and applicable professional development. And so, we're certainly hopeful that, what that research will show us will help to keep an effective teacher in every classroom.
Thank you so much, Dr. Miller and Dr. Wan. We're going to take some time now for questions. Please put questions in the chat pod. And in addition, we also did receive questions in our registration. So we'll go ahead and start with those questions while we invite those attending the webinar to post their questions to the chat pod. One of the questions is regarding retention and perhaps specifically rural retention. Yin-Mei, are there specific challenges for STEM?
Sure. So rural schools actually have some advantages about retention. They have some positive factors there. For example, they have greater sense of community or a sense of social cohesion. More teacher reported more autonomy, and also fewer student disciplinary problems. But again, rural schools also have some unique challenges to attract high quality teachers, especially teachers in the STEM fields, for a number of reasons. Those that are most frequently cited in the literature include obviously geographical isolation, insufficient mentoring and professional development support for teachers. Also increasing concentration of high-need students, for example, low-income students and students with disabilities in rural schools. So these are contribute to the challenges that faced by rural schools in attracting and retaining teachers.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go ahead now and turn to the questions that are coming in the chat pod for our participants who have joined us today. This is about the study you spoke about, Dr. Wan. Can you discuss how the 3-state study was able to link teacher records across data systems?
That's a great question. Now, we actually have a lot of challenge on this. Our primary mechanism for linking records across states is based on the teacher's name and their birth date. Because within each state they have a unique identifier, but for states we don't have their social security numbers, so we relied on names and the birth date for teachers.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Miller, we have a question for you about the risk analysis you were talking with us about. There's a question, are the risk indicators for ineffectiveness available?
I don't know if the question is, do we have the data? We don't have the data. Certainly, we're wanting to collect those data, but as far as the actual at-risk indicators, those are I mentioned a few of them, but those are depicted in our ESSA plan, and I can certainly provide those, at least the running list of what we're looking at.
Okay, and there was a follow-up question from someone else. It seems as though this has sparked quite a bit of interest. Do you have any research basis on what the risk indicators are based on? And is this written up in the ESSA plan?
Yes, so I'll answer that last question first. It is portrayed or conveyed in our ESSA plan. What we did was we looked to our advisories, particularly the teacher advisory that we have. You know, many stakeholders certainly have a voice here. We did follow research when it comes to what we are, you know, already collecting as, for example, certification pathways, as well as, and this is one I did not mention, but this is one of the at-risk factors, and that is the site principal turnover. So that stability or the tenure of the building principal of 3 years or fewer, actually.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go ahead and move on. Dr. Miller, if you could also expand on this question that we received in our registration. One of our participants who registered said that they had found a serious housing shortage for rural teachers in research that he or she had done. Do you have any suggestions about that, the housing shortage for rural teachers?
Sure. So in Oklahoma, you know, we see that same struggle. What we're finding is that when community knows about these issues, and particularly even faith-based organizations, that they step up in ways that you know, can help support those educators. You know, we even had an example in August. It was I believe the first Habitat for Humanity house built for a single woman who is a teacher. So, you know, a lot of things being said there, you know, when it comes to the fact that that teacher qualifies for this kind of housing is a message in and of itself. But yes, we do see support there, and I think it's just a matter of our, you know, local communities, in this case rural settings, knowing about the issue and finding ways to contribute and support.
Well, thank you for sharing that example. And so we have one other question from our registration, and then we'll move on to Jim. And this was related to what you were talking about, Robin. You were talking about that it was retention was the difficulty rather than recruitment. And I was going to ask Yin Mei, is pre-service locale related to retention?
There were, like, I do not know of any specific studies on this topic, but in the literature there were like 2 lines of studies that might be related to this. First of all, teachers, compared with other professionals, teachers tend to be more drawn to their hometown, so they tend to end up teaching in schools that's close to where they grow up. That's one line of research. Also, like for teachers their study also show that teachers where they got employed, the schools where they are employed, if the school characteristics of those schools match with the schools where they got their student teaching or are similar to those schools, that helps with retentions as well.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Miller, did you have anything to add about pre-service locale related to retention even for rural schools or in Oklahoma in general?
Well, I would just say that something that has been piloted in Oklahoma is that of a kind of a student teaching clinical experience exchange. so that those individuals possibly in a, an urban or suburban setting actually are placed and assigned in more of a rural setting, remote setting, in a way of kind of an exchange, like an exchange student program. And I think, we're seeing some positive effects there.
Okay. Well, thank you. So this will conclude our first question and answer session, and we will have another one following our next two presenters. So we're ready to move forward with Jim Lindsay's presentation.
Hello, everyone. Let me just see if I can move these slides around. There we go. Okay, so my name is Jim Lindsay, and I'm a researcher with REL Midwest and REL Southwest. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to talk about the methods that we've used to study the broader topic of teacher supply and demand. Also highlight the overlap in methods for studying teacher mobility and supply and demand. As state education agencies track progress on their equity plans, one aspect of those plans is whether students have equal access to effective teachers. That is part of the impetus for studying teacher supply and demand and educator mobility. What states are finding is that some subject areas and regions within states, there are insufficient numbers of certified teachers to provide instruction given the student-teacher ratios that the districts prefer. They're also finding that educators transfer from school to school in predictable ways. The bulk of this presentation will focus on the simple and complex methods of studying teacher supply and demand. And we've used these methods for studies conducted for REL Midwest, for REL Southwest, but also in states including Massachusetts, Oklahoma, and soon Michigan. In most states, teacher shortages have been picked up by various news outlets, and this is certainly true in all of the states that REL Midwest serves. So here's an example of a headline from Wisconsin. And it's mentioned in newspapers, blogs, television, as seen here in Illinois. In Indiana as well. And in Ohio and Iowa. There have been headlines in Minnesota as well, as the State Department of Education publishes a supply and demand report every other year. And our next presenter, Elia Brueggemann from Minnesota Department of Education, will talk more about the supply and demand situation in their state. There's also Michigan, and REL Midwest is currently conducting a study of teacher supply, demand, and shortages in collaboration with the Midwest Alliance for Improving Teacher Preparation. And that alliance is centered in Michigan. So if policymakers aren't informed directly by their state education agency about the teacher staffing patterns within their state, the headlines from the news outlets will make them ask questions such as these that appear on this slide. So are they a problem in my state? Are shortages pervasive or localized? And why isn't the educator pipeline working? Some of our work has focused on highlighting data sources and analytic methods that state education agencies can use to answer questions like this. We found that states and researchers tend to take two general approaches to determining if there are teacher shortages. First, they can take the more labor-intensive approach by first calculating how many teachers will be needed given expected enrollments, and that is referred to as teacher demand. It's on the left part of this slide. And they also calculate the numbers of teachers that are coming from various supply sources. That is teacher supply over on the right side of this figure. School administrators have been calculating teacher demand for years. It's basically the number of students divided by the preferred student-teacher ratio. So that takes care of the left side of this figure. To determine the teacher supply, you basically calculate all of the teachers coming from all of the various sources. Most of the supply sources can come from data that states already collect. So the major source of teachers in a given year are those who continue teaching from the year before. The percent of teachers who continue teaching from year to year is the retention rate, of course. To assess this, we typically look at the staffing data for a number of years and record the numbers of teachers who appear in the data for the same schools in consecutive years. Looking at educator mobility involves a similar approach, only you look at whether these educators who appear in the staffing data for consecutive years remain at the same school each year. There's also the teachers from traditional teacher preparation programs. There are a number of ways and data sources that you can look at to look at these trends. You could look at the number of teaching certificates issued each year. You can even go back a step and determine if the numbers of program completers each year. Finally, you can merge the annual staffing data and certification data and see the numbers of new inexperienced teachers who take a teaching position each year. Likewise, the same process can be followed for teachers from alternative teacher preparation programs. Okay, let's see. One supply source is often called the reserve pool, which is the group of certified teachers who are willing and able to teach, but who are not. There's no easy way to assess this supply source except by looking at the numbers of teachers who leave their positions one year and do not appear in the staffing data for some amount of time, but then reappear later. And finally, you could look at the numbers of teachers who come from other states. This can be measured by merging staffing data with certification data. Usually states have a distinct mechanism for out-of-state teachers to become certified in their state. Usually this is a special code that's on teacher certificates, and it's also in the certificate databases. And as Yinmei Wan, my colleague, mentioned a few minutes ago, we have found that this source of teachers, the teachers who are migrating in from other states, this tends to be the smallest set of teachers that get hired in states each year. So thus far, we've been talking about the labor-intensive approach to looking at teacher supply and demand. Shortages exist if the numbers of teachers coming through the supply channels is insufficient for the number of teachers needed. But for many states, there's a quick and easy indicator that indicates shortage, and that's the number of emergency permits or waivers or certificates that are issued each year. You'll recall that a previous presenter, Robin Miller from Oklahoma, used this data source to indicate the extent of shortage that her state is experiencing. There's another indicator, though, and that is the results of a survey of local school districts about the difficulty they experience in finding teachers in particular subject areas. That is the approach that Elia Brueggemann and her colleagues in Minnesota take as part of the biennial teacher supply and demand study. And Robin Miller also mentioned, she showed some findings from a survey of districts as well. So I've gone through a lot of technical information pretty quickly, and there are resources that have been published through the REL that address these topics, and I encourage you to download them and read them if you need more information. Thank you very much.
Hello, I am Elia Brueggemann, and I am going to go through our presentation from Minnesota. So just reflecting on the research that was done for Minnesota and the perspective that we do have here in the state. As you all know, we also are working on an ESSA plan where districts will create, and update plans to ensure low-income students, students of color, and American Indian students have access to effective, experienced, and in-field teachers. In addition, the plan will improve students' access to teachers of colors and American Indian teachers. So also the supply and demand report is mandated by state law in Minnesota. We work with REL Midwest research to take a look at the numbers and percentages of teachers of color and American Indian teachers that we do have in the state. So the 2015 report was the first time we report the information to the public. Because of this information, school organizations and advocacy organizations, as well as legislators began to focus on the lack of diversity in the teacher workforce, and they began to introduce legislation and strategies to increase teachers of color in Minnesota so that other students of color have access to educators that look like them. So as you can see from the data displayed here, this is actually is showing the teacher that we have compared to the future students of color that we will have in the state. So the enrollments, historical enrollments for Minnesota, most students are white. However, by the research, we see that the students of colors are growing by a large percentage in Minnesota. So then in legislation for the 2017 year, the legislation set up some funding for the Department of Education. Some funding was established in the Grow Your Own grants, which is $1.5 million per year that we can access to school districts to create pathway for secondary school students, students of colors, and American Indian students, as well as for paraprofessionals, so that there is a collaboration between the university, which will have a non-traditional teacher program, so that those grants will go towards the tuition for those paraprofessionals, or also to create classes at the secondary school for students of color and American Indian students to go into teaching. Another grant is a collaborative urban and greater Minnesota educators. There is another $1 million in here for paraprofessionals to have access to pathway for teaching, and this funding goes to the universities. We also have the Minnesota Indian Teacher Training Program, and also the Southwest Minnesota University Paraprofessional Program, which is for a special education teacher pathway. So there is other legislative programs that we do have that were passed in 2017, such as grants to teacher candidates, which was to higher education, and I believe there is about $3 million there. There is teacher shortage loan forgiveness if they are teaching in a priority or focus school. We also have some hiring bonuses as part of the Grow Your Own for the alternative pay system. And as probably many other states, we have the Perkins funds for rural career education in the consortiums. And this year, we also set up some funding to an organization which is called the African American Registry to train teachers who are, or students who are seniors into their teaching career on cultural competency. This is a pilot that we do have, and the funding is going to be to work with 2 universities so that we can train our teachers before they actually go into the districts on cultural competency. Now, Deb is going to be going over other legislative, that was passed so that about licensure.
Hi, everyone. I'm Debbie Odell. I'm the interim director in educator licensing. We currently, under educator licensing, are with the Minnesota Department of Education. Our department works closely with the Minnesota Board of Teaching. The difference is the Minnesota Board of Teaching is responsible for developing the Teacher Code of Ethics. They adopt the rules for licensing of public school teachers, and also the rules for approving teacher preparation programs. They also handle our teacher ethics issues regarding revoking or denying a license based on those qualifying grounds. In licensing, our responsibilities are issuing and denying the license applications for general ed and special ed. And also, we work with verifying the districts and charter school licensure compliance. What's happening is beginning January 1st of 2018, the Educator Licensing Department and the Board of Teaching will be combined into a new state agency called the Professional Educator Licensing and Standards Board. We will become one state agency. However, the third board involved, the Minnesota Board of School Administrators, will be kept separate from that. So we will actually contract with the Board of School Administrators to issue administrative licensing. Another big change we saw with our last legislative session is effective July 1st of 2018, Minnesota is moving into a tiered licensure structure. What that does is it puts licensure candidates into one of 4 tiers, depending on their licensure requirements. The Tier 1 and Tier 2 license will require a district to have a job offer. The Tier 3 requirement is a 3-year license that's renewable indefinitely and basically is a full professional teaching license. The Tier 4 requirements are similar to the Tier 3, except the Tier 4 also requires passing of a basic skills test and 3 years of teaching experience in Minnesota. The Tier 4 license is renewable, is a 5-year license, and that's renewable indefinitely as long as the candidate has met the renewal requirements. Some other licensing changes that we saw with the legislative session. Our ABS license used to require that the candidate secure another special ed license within 5 years if they didn't already. So they would have to get an EBD or an LD, a DD license within 5 years of the issuance of the ABS license. We called that an anchor license. As of September 1st of 2017, that is no longer required. There's some exemption for career and tech instructors, and then we are going to take a look at our special education licenses to determine if we have a cross-categorical license we can offer.
Future plans for Minnesota to retrain and actually recruit and induct potential teachers of color we're going to be focusing on the existing funding that we do have, such as our integration funding, which we have over $100 million that is going to the school districts. And Pathway to Teaching, we're looking at being a systematic program for our high school students, where we will be working with the universities to create about 3 or 4 courses in our high schools with 30% or more students of color, so that we can put them into their pathway to grow your own. Through the regional centers of excellence, also we're going to be forming teacher committees in rural areas to take a look at the need statewide for teachers of color.
Thank you so much, Elia and Deb, for your presentation, and Jim as well. We invite our participants on the webinar to share their questions in the chat pod. While we're looking for some of your questions, we'll take some that our registrants posed in their registration. And maybe you could talk about this a little bit more, Jim. What strategies Our policies have proven successful in teacher retention, both at state and local levels?
Well, so as a researcher, there's a issue with the word proven. It's hard to prove something, but I will tell you some of the things that have been shown to be related to retention. And these are often cited in the research literature. One of the most frequently cited factors is the school culture or working conditions. So things such as school safety, a clean environment, and including teachers in decision making. Those have been shown to be related to teacher retention. Also, fostering collaborative relationships in schools. That's also related to retention. And finally, providing teachers, especially new teachers, with support. There have been studies on mentoring and induction programs, and depending on the program, those have been shown to be related to teacher retention.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Did have a question that focused specifically on Title I schools. Elia and Deb, would you have any comment to make about what can districts do to retain good teachers in Title I schools?
Well, you know, in Minnesota, we do have we have a regional centers of excellence. So we have 6 across the whole state of Minnesota, which I call the mini MDEs, Department of Educations. And in there, we have a staff that are supporting our priority and focus schools. So most of our priority schools are our Title I schools. So then the support with funding and plus with the expertise that we have of the staff to go into the schools and support our Title I schools, we have in the retention then of our teachers. And we have from English, our specialists include special education, English learners, math, reading, family engagement. So all those specialists go into those schools in the regions so that we don't have to always depend on our offices here at the, in Minneapolis.
Okay, thank you. So your centers of excellence provide the extra support.
Yes.
Dr. Miller, did you have anything to add for Oklahoma about what districts can do to retain good teachers in Title I schools?
Yes, I would offer up that, one thing that we're doing in our agency is a lot of cross-functional teaming. And so educator effectiveness teaming with school improvement office. And so where those Title I designated schools, they're already working in those schools. So we are partnering with them in helping conduct needs assessments. And when in fact maybe a needs assessment would reveal a human capital issue, we're able to help that district connect funds to focus on recruitment and on retention. And a lot of what Jim has already mentioned, the time, professional time allowed for educators, PLCs, for example, even something as simple as interview protocol within a specific district in recruiting and interfacing with these potential hires.
Okay, thank you for that. I was recently visiting with a superintendent in Ohio, and in their interview process, they used to do the team interview with a number of staff in the school, and then they had the teacher candidate teach a lesson. But some of the teacher candidates didn't make it through the team interview because they realized they were losing some good candidates. So they switched it around and did the teaching of the lesson first And then they identified that that was going to be a good teacher, and then they did the team interview with the school. So they switched it around because they realized they lost some good candidates. And another thing he learned is that in the debrief, some of the candidates being interviewed said when they walked into the school, if it smelled clean, and Jim brought up a clean environment, and you know, we use all of our senses. And so I thought that was quite interesting that he shared a couple of those strategies that he was being mindful of when he interviewed new teacher candidates for his district. Another question we had in the registration was the teacher shortage again, and teachers moving to higher paying districts within the state. How has that affected your state with teachers moving to higher paying districts within your state? Robin, do you want to start this time, please?
Oh, sure. Thank you. Well, we have a minimum salary schedule, and of course districts may choose to pay beyond that scale, and so that already creates a bit of a competitive climate. And also on top of that, in Oklahoma, we have not had a teacher pay raise for right at 10 years. But what we see is really even the non-monetary supports where teachers might leave a district to go to another Oklahoma district, and it's because they are enticed by some of the things we just talked about as far as retention, professional, collaborative time with their colleagues, even a building principle or leadership that they feel is very strong. So, you know, I think some of those non-monetary supports are something to look at, you know, beyond teacher pay. Certainly teacher salary and compensation is worthy.
Okay, thank you. Elia or Deb, do you have anything to add about teachers moving to higher paying districts within Minnesota?
You know, it's very similar to what we see from Oklahoma. And in Minnesota, districts have local control in regards to their salary schedule. So districts can offer bonuses, but it's very similar to what Oklahoma has.
Okay. Thank you. And it looks like we're not getting questions from right now from our attendees. And we do have a couple more presenters who are going to share their upcoming studies from the REL Southwest. And if you do think of anything that we missed, we may have a few minutes for questions at the end. But let's move ahead and hear from Kate Sullivan.
All right. Hi. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me today. Like Jackie said, my name is Kate Sullivan. I am a senior researcher at AIR, and I'm based out of Austin. So I'm going to introduce the study today and give a brief overview of the rationale and the research questions that are behind the study. The report's in the final stage, so hopefully it'll get released soon, so keep your eye out for it. So before I go further, I want to thank Liz Barkowski and Jim Lindsay, who just spoke actually, as well as Val, Tan, Dennis, and Lee Lynn with Empirical Ed, who helped immensely with this report. And actually Yin Mei, who helped on the report as well. So like the study title shows, the study focuses on teacher mobility in Texas. And Texas public schools make for an interesting place to study education research, partially due to how big it is. So between 2010 and 2016, the K-12 enrollment increased from about 4.8 million students to about 5.3 million students. And to cover all these teachers, Texas has about 350,000 Texas public school teachers. So we have several landmark studies of teacher-owned mobility in Texas in particular, and I have a couple listed here below you can see. And these provided a critical baseline for information and context about teacher mobility in Texas. However, you can see that these haven't been updated with any new data since about 2010. And the other thing to note about these studies is they tended to be done at the state level. So it meant it was difficult to apply or translate any of their results to more local levels. And it's possible that there's some regional differences that might have been masked. So the desire for more recent data really coincided with the development of the Texas Educator Equity Plan. And the Educator Equity Plan is part of the federal Excellent Educators for All initiative. And this outlines the requirements for states to ensure that all students have access to excellent educators. As part of developing this plan, TEA, or the Texas Education Agency, and its partners analyzed data to identify some of the root causes of these equity gaps. And they found that economically disadvantaged students and minority students were more likely to be taught by inexperienced, unqualified, or out-of-field teachers at higher rates than other kids. So TEA sought some strategies to reduce these inequities and listed teacher retention as an area that needs some attention. So to address this, the REL Southwest Educator Effectiveness Research Alliance helped develop the study of teacher mobility in Texas. There we go. So the study is largely guided by 4 research questions, and it's mostly descriptive and correlational in nature. All the research questions focus on the past 5 school years, so 2011-12 through 2015-16. The first research question was designed to provide an overarching description of teacher mobility rates at the state level and also at the regional level, so that the 20 education service centers that Texas is divided into. The second question explores how teacher characteristics like race, ethnicity, certification, and educational attainment are related to teachers' likelihood of staying in the same schools, moving schools, or leaving Texas public schools. The third question examines the correlations between school-level mobility and the characteristics of the students that are in those schools. So this might include the proportion of minority students, English learner students, and economically disadvantaged students. And then finally, the last research question takes advantage of the data collected during the pilot year of the Texas Teacher Evaluation and Support System. And here we examine how teacher mobility may be correlated with school-level ratings of the T-Test teacher evaluation rubric. So like I said, today I'm just going to kind of go over the methods and the design. So one of the interesting aspects of this study is how we define the metrics of teacher mobility. The first metric, mobility rate, is pretty standard. Ian May and Jim presented similar equations. It represents the proportion of teachers who move schools within a district, across districts, and we also include those who leave Texas public schools each year. So you can see here it's the chunk represented in the, it looks like the red pie piece, whereas in the more green pie piece, those are the teachers that stayed in the same schools between years. And then what we think might be one of the more unique contributions of this paper is our second metric of teacher mobility, and we call it the destination proportion. So here what we do is we move beyond lumping all those in that red pie piece that moved or left public schools, and we're breaking out each type of teacher mobility. So this helps us describe not only how many teachers are moving, but where they're moving to, or if they're leaving even. So for example, if you just pick one of those, if you focus on the proportion of teachers who move across school districts each year, we're able to track that proportion each year and then track to see if that changes over the last 5 years, to see if there's any differences. So like I said, this report is just in the very final phases of review. Hopefully it's going to be released in the next, I want to say, couple weeks. We'll see, so keep your eye out for it. We're excited to get going on it. These are the references that I listed earlier if you want to take a look at them. And please feel free to reach out with any questions. Hopefully the report will be released to you all soon. Thank you so much. Pass it on to Val.
Hi, Val. This is Emily Loney. Looks like you're muted. Can you, there we go.
Hello. I'm going to give a brief overview of another study that is close to completion. It was prepared by the team that included Megan Toby, Dennis Newman, Lillian, Jenna Zakami, and myself. And it's a study of indicators of teacher recruitment and retention in Oklahoma rural schools. The study was response to the needs of Oklahoma Rural Education Research Alliance and addresses the problem of recruitment and retention. which is an issue in Oklahoma schools, like in many other states. The study focuses on identifying factors that could predict successful recruitment and retention, and ultimately could lead to the development of policies that target particular districts or groups of teachers. The study sought to establish the patterns of teacher mobility, and most importantly, it focused on the analysis of effects of particular indicators. For the purposes of this study, an extensive database was assembled that included 10 years of teacher employment records spanning the years from 2005 to 2014-15, 10 school years, school characteristics from federal and state sources, and a large number of indicators, community characteristics, mostly based on the American Community Survey data. And a peculiar feature of this study is that we decided to do separate analysis of two related issues. One is the successful recruitment, defined broadly as the ability of districts to retain beginning teachers for the 3-year probationary period. And for that study, the successful outcome is the indicator of teacher returning for the 4th year to work in the same district. Another aspect of the study is the retention of tenured teachers in the longer term. The two parts of this study have different analytical approaches and rely on somewhat different samples. In the analysis, we evaluate the effect of individual indicators, and also we set the task of identifying the relative importance of the whole 3 groups of factors. Teacher level indicators include teacher characteristics, as well as the aspects of teacher employment at the individual level, such as compensation, teaching workload, and education level, and so on. District level characteristics are average student and teacher characteristics and student achievement. And community level characteristics basically cover all, or at least many, aspects of what can be defined as quality of life in the broader community where districts are located, and that included characteristics such as income and employment profile, population dynamics, affordability and availability of housing, and so on. A few dozen different indicators, as I said, mostly from the American Community Survey. Excuse me. In the analysis of recruitment, we used, as I mentioned, the outcome teacher returning for this 4th year and apply logistic regression. This analysis only includes the smaller sample of teachers from which we could conclude with certainty that they did or did not return for the 4th year within the time frame of the study. For retention, we use what is called survival analysis, and it's method of determining factors associated with the probability of teacher returning to another year of service after being employed in a district for a certain number of years. And since we only cover 10 years of the sometimes much longer career paths, the estimates are maybe less accurate, especially for the earlier years in the period. The potential implications of this study is that once we identify the indicators that are strongly positively or negatively associated with the probability of successful recruitment and retention, the decision makers can tune up the policies to address those factors to offset the negative ones or support the positive ones by developing particular initiatives. And of course, we this study creates a basis for more detailed studies of factors that were for the reasons of data availability left out of the current study. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Val and Kate, for your presentation. And thank you to all of our presenters, our State Department of Education colleagues from Oklahoma and Minnesota, and our REL Midwest and Southwest researchers. Please, we invite you to follow us on Twitter to stay up to date on the work of the REL Midwest and the REL Southwest. In addition, we have newsletters and e-bulletins that we send out. If you go to our websites, you'll find a subscribe button. REL Southwest has a number of reports coming out this fall. And if you subscribe to our e-bulletin, you will receive a notice when that report is published. The two reports we heard from Kate and Val, they will contribute to the research base that we heard about today from Jim and Yane about teacher recruitment and retention and teacher mobility. So thank you to all of our presenters today, and please, to our participants, sign up for our Twitter account, and also please complete our stakeholder feedback survey. The link is in the chat pod. You should just be able to click on that link and it will take you to the survey. And it's very important for our work that you let us know your thoughts about this webinar as we continue to do engagement activities to meet your needs. And thank you to all of our participants today for staying on and being engaged with our conversation that we held today. Thank you so much. This ends the webinar.